Welcome to What's Planned for Business Central 2022 Wave 1. Hey, I'm Eric, and it's that time of year again where Microsoft have revealed their plans for the next wave, also known as 2022 Wave 1, and I thought I would go through what's on the list and give you my opinion and my comments of what's on the list. And we might as well get right into it. And here's the page. The link is below if you want to look at this page yourself. Anyway, I think the first thing that we need to make sure we are in agreement about is the whole concept of a wave, because it's kind of, we know that we're gonna get version 20, but Microsoft think about this as a wave. So what they are actually telling us that this is a 6-month plan that goes from April to the end of September, and then we get the next wave in October. So just because the version number will increment to 20 on April 1st doesn't mean that we get all the version 20 stuff. It might come in 20.1, 20.2, 20.3. That's the concept of a wave. So a lot of people got confused about Microsoft announcing this will be in version 19, 18, whatever. And then it wasn't in the release version, it came later. But that's the concept of a wave. I think that the cloud software, this is how it goes. So at least, yeah, that's a wave. But let's take a look at this. And the first section is application stuff. And that warms my heart, because I think the application, lots of stuff has happened on Business Central, on the platform, on the tech, on the language, on the dev stuff, and all that good stuff, and that's great for me as a developer, and great for people who make apps and all that good stuff. But over the last few releases, and I'm just going to put up a hand and put on a lot of fingers, the application has not really evolved that much. And I think it's time for the application to, get in the driver's seat. What we have is a great platform. We got great tech. Let's use it to actually do some accounting, because that's why we're here. And so the fact that the list for the application is the longest, it's a good sign. Blocking, deletion of geo accounts, allow the sell to and bill to customers to be different for jobs, bank rec, change default company bank accounts on sales and service documents, improvements. Check documents and journals in background. So this is pretty cool. So as you create documents, and this is a feature, so you need to go into feature management and activate it. Then Business Central will actually validate. So a lot of the validation on documents doesn't happen until you post it, but in this case we will actually get post level validation in the background, and there's a fact box saying, hey, these are the current issues. So I think that's pretty cool, and a great option for all the background tasks and stuff like that we have now. So I'm looking forward to that very much. Consolidated customer and vendor balances. This is a very, very old ask. That sometimes you have somebody that you both buy from and sell to, so they are both a vendor and a customer. But what if you owe the vendor money and and the opposite transaction exists on the customer side. So should you pay a vendor if they actually owe you money also, and stuff like that. So getting a combined balance is pretty cool, and something that lots of people have asked for decades. I think this is a customization I first made way back in the mid 90s. So very welcome. Great addition. Fixed quantity in product bills of materials, improved and extensible adjust exchange rate batch job. Yeah, nice thing. Here's another big one. This is way bigger than when you look at here. The key thing is the last two words. Map to Dataverse option sets such as payment terms, freight terms, and shipping agents without code. So currently in version 19 point whatever we are at right now, those three fields, payment terms, freight terms, and shipping agents, are hard-coded, what values you can have in them. So when you're replicating between Dynamics CE or Sales or CRM, whatever we call it, and Business Central, you are stuck with a set of options. So these options are baked into the schema on the CRM side. So up until version 20, the only option you had was to actually go and create a table extension to extend the enum values that were handling these, and then install that extension and then run some discovery thing where you run the replication once, and then it learns about the new option values, and it's a mess. But so now we can do this without code. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to get rid of those stupid extensions I've had to make this work, and I'm looking forward to customers themselves can do something like this without involving me. More control over deferral posting. New UI for entering demand forecast to add support for variant code and other improvements. Nice. Payment reconciliation, I can't say that anyway. Journal, probably related to the bank rec stuff up here. Report selection for projects. Yeah. Set default dimension or location. Yeah. Shopify Connector. So this is a controversial one, because Microsoft announced that, hey, we're gonna, together with Shopify, by the way, announced that, hey, we're gonna create a connector between Shopify and Business Central, and that did rub a lot of people the wrong way, because there are Shopify connectors in App Source. So are Microsoft now, looking at apps and say, those are good apps, we want to do them ourselves, and thereby basically killing ISVs. It's a delicate balancing act, because on the other hand, we cannot say just because I put an app in App Source, then now Microsoft is not allowed to touch that. Somebody else can make an app. So there's 7 Shopify connectors or something like that. So why are Microsoft not allowed to it? So it's complicated. I'm looking forward to see. So here's the thing. In all honesty, sometimes when Microsoft walk into an area like this, they are truly underperforming. And there might be a big market for the existing connector still, because they simply will do it better. But hey, Microsoft, prove me wrong. But it's going to be interesting to see. I think we will. I'll probably do a video on this one at some point. Standardizing the bank rec process, or more bank rec in North American. So bank integration in general, and I can only talk about the North American versions, are currently terrible. this is an area where Business Central is so far behind competitors that it's almost embarrassing to demo and show what we have in the application in this area to customers, because this is like the Stone Age, and some of the other products that cost $50 a month are fully integrated with all banks you can find, and so much needed. This Microsoft is playing catch up here, and they're really playing catch up. Support inventory pick and warehouse pick for operation for jobs. Synchronizing sales quotes and order in both directions between Business Central and CRM. I never really had anybody asking for that, but hey, maybe. Use different deal accounts for payable and receivable transactions. I'm actually not sure what that is. We can take a look. So a way to override the AR AP account in case like with bad debts or stuff like that. Controllers can define policies for posting these non-standard transactions, and accountants can change them during posting. Maybe. Not something that I have ever heard and asked for. So no opinion on that one. Okay, next section here. Better with Microsoft 365. So as you can see, it's a long list for your application. Go application. I love it. Better with Microsoft 365. That's kind of the, we're part of a bigger thing. So there's two things here. Better Teams integration. We'll do a video on that when I already have 3 videos on Teams integration. So I'll do a follow-up on that one for sure. Outlook add-in, add attachment from emails directly to Business Central documents. Yeah. The problem is that the document stuff in BC is really bad, which is a good thing because I have an app, the SharePoint Connector, that does all this way better. So that's probably something that I can hook into here and just get attachment into SharePoint. So I'm going to look into that personally. Pretty short list about better with Microsoft 365. The next thing is development. Hey. This is exciting. Let's take a look at this. Auto deploy dependent projects in workspace. So I have on purpose, if you've seen any of my videos, I never really use the multi-root workspace where you have more than one project installed at a time, active inside the Visual Studio at a time, because I don't really see the benefit because we're missing exactly this, that if you're editing more than one project and deploying, then whatever is dependent is not getting auto deployed, and you have to make sure that it's deployed in the right order, and it's very, very old fashioned. If you have ever used Visual Studio Code with .NET and C# and multi projects in there, which is very cool. So I'm looking forward to this, and for sure I'm going to do a video on this when we get it. In-client performance profiler. So we have looked at the profiler on the channel. You can find a video about that, but now we get a way to actually profile from within the client without all the snapshot and debugging craziness. Demo tools and demo data for manufacturing scenarios. I'm not sure why this is development, but maybe it is. I would say that this is demo data in Kronos. Not sure why they put it here, but perhaps the development list is pretty short. So anyway, Go for GitHub, modern DevOps for partners. So there's a lot of stuff for how to do CDCI on Azure DevOps, not that much for GitHub. So Microsoft is working on templates so you can set up a GitHub pipeline and stuff like that. Telemetry, company name as custom dimension in AL log message. Nice. Users can export report dataset to XML. So we got that, but only in the client in version 19. So now we have the option of also do it. So we got the export dataset to Excel, no layout was added in maybe version 18 actually. But it was not possible to do from code, which was pretty weird. So now we're able to do it from code, which is nice. And that's development. So nothing. But this is like the only piece from a language perspective. So that's gonna be, well, I'm gonna do when we get the new compiler, I'm gonna do the usual thing where comparing the to the old version and seeing behind the scene what has been changed. Maybe there's more. Maybe there's secrets that they're not revealing on this list. We've seen that before. Next section is governance and administration. So the first one is custom managed encryption key for encrypting customer data at rest. So what does data at rest mean? Well, data at rest means that's where the data is living. So which in the Business Central case is the database. It's unclear if this supports more encryption than the stuff that we already have. I don't think it's pretty vague what they're actually telling in here, because they're basically saying the same thing. Customers can use their own encryption key from their own Azure Key Vault to encrypt their Business Central environment database at rest. Does that mean that we get full database encryption? That would be pretty cool, but the encryption key is used to encrypt data at rest for all customer Business Central environments. Let's see. I think I'm prepared to be disappointed here, because having a fully encrypted database would be pretty cool from a governance and compliance perspective, but I'm not sure that's what they're doing. But let's see. In April 22. Customers can consent to Microsoft support accessing their data through a logbox consent flow. Microsoft support is a complicated topic, and let me just not go into the topic by saying that there's certainly room for improvement, and this might be one of them. Allow security administrator to define default permission sets assignments when user is signing up. So here's a big problem now, is that if you have a new user, you add a new user to your AD, but you cannot go into Business Central and give them permissions because they haven't logged in yet. So the user is not yet in Business Central. So it's kind of, they have to log in, and then perhaps they get some non-permissions and get an error, and then after they logged in, the admin will now go in and give them the right permission, then they can log in again. That is less than optimal. So I believe that this will help make that experience way better, instead of the first encounter a user get with Business Central is an error saying that they're missing permissions. Updating only licensed user from Microsoft 365 runs faster and more efficiently. Great. Permission set handling enhancements. There's a long story about permissions, and the product team is sending out teasers on permission sets. All I want to say is that we have had tons of issues regarding permissions from version 18 and version 19, and it's a constant source of support calls. It's so I hope that this is not, digging the grave deeper, but actually, fixing something. No, let me rephrase that. Let me hope they fix the permission stuff before they start building more here. I think that's my honest opinion. Anyway, on to the Microsoft Power Platform. So data versus data change events. This is complicated, and we need to check this when it comes out. Business Central Virtual Tables will emit data change events just as the native tables do. This enables Power Automate triggers to execute when data changes for the virtual table. So hopefully on the Dataverse side, people can get events on modify, on insert, stuff like that. But we gotta see how that plays out. Improvements to the Power Automate and Power Apps connector. Well, I guess that's always the case. The last one is modern clients. And I'm going to say the exact same thing as I said half a year ago and a year ago, that these are the only clients we have. So why is this the modern client and not just client? There's no longer a classic client. There's no longer the Windows client. So I think this, the title needs an update. This client is not modern anymore. We have had this for at least 4 years. So yeah. Anyway, introduce copy link option in the share menu. I think that's great. The URL to pages are not very easy for people to share. So hopefully this will share it. And clearly the Windows desktop app, which was a wrapper for the website anyway, is now just being replaced with a progressive web app, which is just it's the same thing, and now it's just the browser that hosts the page instead of a executable to host the page. So no big deal here, but it makes sense. And usability improvements on the web client. And the peek function, so when you have like a posted invoice and you click on the customer, you get a little peek window and some more navigational things with that. And when the fast tab expands, the page scroll up, so the next fast tab caption is visible. Stuff like that. That's nice. Onboarding. So the next session, we're almost through here, guys. Sorry. Onboarding. ContextAware links in the help pane from Microsoft and partners. This is cool. I like the fact that, so if you have seen a video on some of the very, very old ancient versions, you hit F1 and then you got ContextAware help. We lost that on the way. And I totally get that Microsoft is no longer documenting every single field. But I think there's a middle ground, and I think this is the middle ground. So we can get those content-aware stuff in the help pane. I'm looking forward to this. I think it's pretty cool. Guided tour that helps users find setting on personalizing tools. Yeah, we know that one. Supporting for rich text in teaching tips and tours. So if you saw the video on teaching tips, well, this is basically a way to like bold and underline and make it a bit nicer. Add internal links. I can't remember if there's something. Let's see what it says. Yada 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 yada. You can also add a link to another in-app entity from a teaching tip. Two of the role center on how to filter on it. Okay. And now we get to reporting, and here's one of the big ones. So new capability for financial reporting with account schedules. That's not the big one, but that's nice. Account schedules have long needed some love from Microsoft. I think what Microsoft could do, the true love they could give this module, was a rename. And what I mean by that is nobody understands that account schedules is where you go to do financial reporting. The name makes no sense. The name is a translation mistake. And the translation mistake was made 8 years ago. And the problem here is that the word schedule, that in Danish, we kind of use the same word for a sheet as we do for a schedule, for like a planner, a calendar. So when kids get their weekly schedule for school, that's the same word. So somebody decided to translate the Danish word, which if we were to translate it directly today, it would probably be account sheet, and maybe that's almost as bad. But they choose the same word as the kids' school planner, so it became an account schedule. And I hope, my sincere hope is that Microsoft will look at this and say, let's just fix this and call it financial reporting. End of story. Because that's what it is. Why put something weird on a label where we can put something that makes sense on the label? So anyway, but the love that is given is a lot of small features. We can print in landscape, and we control if we show a 0, and we can do categories for filtering, and 15 columns, so we have months, 12 months, and a total, and all that good stuff. So just love, and it's needed. But the big one is this guy, and I'm so there'll be videos on this for sure. Use Excel to design layouts for reports. So think about it. Right now, you have several options for creating report layouts. But imagine that you could print to a Excel sheet, just like we are doing with Word now. And the idea is that you print with the one we looked at earlier that said export just the data to Excel with say report. So you get the report data as tabs, and then you can go in and define another sheet in Excel where you do all this stuff, and you save that as a template. So when Business Central to generate a report, it will regenerate your sheet, but keep the sheet that you have designed. So thereby you can print custom Excel sheets. It's pretty cool. I really like that. Okay, we are almost at the end. So the last one is service and platform. Let's see if there's anything here. Performance partners can get database insight through virtual tables inside client pages. Yeah, that's nice. And then telemetry. So Microsoft keeps pounding away at telemetry, and I think that is great. The only slight worry I have with all the telemetry stuff is that it cannot become an excuse to do a proper UI. One thing that truly annoys me on AppSource is that if you have an AppSource submission that fails, you basically now get a message saying, go look at telemetry. That's sloppy, because why not just query the error messages and showing them to me, stuff like that. So it's a double-edged sword. Telemetry is great, but it cannot be the quick excuse to not do something else proper. But we'll see about that. Other than that, then otherwise we have to let them know about this. And that's it. That's it for the list. And as I was saying, I'll link to this. But the link is below the video. But let me know. First of all, let me know in the comments below if you think there's something that's irrelevant or there's something I should have done. But especially let me know what topics you would like me to do videos on. I want to make sure that when the releases comes around, I cover the stuff that you want to see. So let me know in the comments, and well, until next time, check this video out. You're gonna like it.